Lata Mangeshkar was born as Hema Mangeshkar on the 20th September 1929. Uh, she has passed away today morning on the 6th of February 2022. She was an Indian playback singer and music composer. She sang for most of the Hindi cinema all her life. She was the greatest singer in India and across Asia, and she is uh, given tribute today by all the stalwarts of the music industry, including the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Information and Broadcasting Minister of India. Her contribution to the Indian music industry in a career which spanned over 7 decades. She had earned title as the Queen of Melody, the Nightingale of India. She has recorded songs in over 36 Indian languages and also a few foreign languages. Uh, she was born in Indore, and she was Indore was part of Madhya Pradesh, still part of Madhya Pradesh, and she died in Bombay uh, at the ripe age of 92. Uh, Her active years were from 1942 to 2022. Her father was Devnath Mangeshkar, and she won many national film awards. She was awarded the highest Indian civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna. She was also given the Dadasaheb Phalke Award in 1987 by the Government of India. Her She was the only second female singer after M.S. Subbalakshmi to receive this honor. The country of France had conferred on her the highest civilian award, Officer of the National Order of the Legion of Honor, in 2007. She received 3 National Film Awards, 2 Filmfare Special Awards, 4 Filmfare Best Female Playback Awards, the Lifetime Achievement Awards. She also performed at the Royal in London in 1974. She also got the Bengal Film Journalists Association Awards 15 times. She has sung in a lot of movies, and then she was honored all over, and she was revered in India and across. About her family, she was the eldest daughter of the Dinanath Mangeshkar ji, a Marathi and a Konkani musician, and her mother was Shevanti Devi, and this her father was a classical singer and a theater actor. Her mother was a Gujarati woman from Thalaner, Bombay Presidency. Today, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji expressed his grief over the passing away of the legend. Earlier in his various talks over Man Ki Baat and others, he had expressed, and then once he had also spoken to Lata Mangeshkar ji, and that time he had expressed that how she would treat her to the Gujarati food, and he was very honored for that. And she, her paternal grandfather was Ganesh Bhatt Nawate Hardikarji, who was a priest who performed the Abhishek of the Shivalingam at the Mangushi temple in Goa. And her paternal grandmother was Yesubai Rane. She belonged to Goa. Her Lataji's maternal grandfather was the Gujarati businessman Seth Haridas Ramdas. And Mangeshkarji learned Gujarati folk songs such as Garbas and of Pavagadh from her maternal grandmother. Dinanathji had adopted the surname Mangeshkar in order to identify his family with his native town of Mangeshi, Goa. Lata was named Hema when she was born. Her parents later started calling her Lata after a female character, Latika, in one of her father's play, Bhav Bandhan. Lataji was the eldest child in the family, and other sisters were Meena, Asha, and Ushaji, and her brother Hridyanath. They're all singers and musicians. At her young age, very tender age of 5, she started to work as an actress in her father's musical plays, Sangeet Natak in Marathi. Uh, to recall, on the very first day of her school, she had left school because they would not allow her to bring her sister Asha ji with her, and then she had to, go alone. Uh, Early about her career path, in 1942, when Lataji was 13, her father had just died of a heart disease, and Master Vinayak, uh, the owner of Navyuk Chitrapat movie company, and took care of them at that time, and he helped Lataji to start a career as a singer and actress. At first song which she had, I think, possibly sung was Nachu Ya Gade Khelu Sari Mani Havas Bhari. This was composed by Sadashiv Rao Nevrekar for Vasant Joglekar's Marathi movie Kitty Hasal in 1942. But the song was finally dropped from that place. Then Vinayak also gave her a small role in Nabyuk Chitrapat's Marathi movie Pahili Mangla Gaur in 1942, in which he sang Natali Chetrachi Navali. This was composed by Dada Chandekar. Her first Hindi song was Mata Ek Sapoot Ki Duniya Badal De Tu for the Marathi film Gaja Bhau in 1943. In the year 1945, Lataji moved to Bombay and now known as Mumbai. When Master Vinayak's company moved their headquarters there, she started taking the lessons in Hindi, Hindustani classical music from the Ustad of that time, Ustad Aman Ali Khan of Bindi Bazaar Gharana. She sang Pa Lagu Karjori for Vasant Joglekar's Hindi language movie Aapki Seva Mein. The dance in the film was performed by Rohini Bhate, who also became later a famous classical dancer. Lataji and her sister Asha Bhosle, played minor roles in Vinayak's first Hindi language movie, Badi Ma. And Lataji also sang a bhajan, Mata Tere Charnon Mein. She was introduced to the music director Vasant Desai during the recording of the Hindi language movie Subhadra in 46. Uh, when Vinayak died in 1948, music director Ghulam Haider mentored her as a singer. He introduced Lataji to producer Shashadhar Mukherjee, who was working then on the movie Shaheed, a very famous Indian movie which was made in 1948. But he had, Mukherjee said that Lata's voice was as too thin. Then Haiderji got annoyed, and in the coming years, producers and director would fall at Lata's feet and beg her to sing in their movies. Then Heather gave Lata her major break. The first break was uh, in the movie Majboor in 1948 with the song Dil Mera Toda Mujhe Kahin Ka Na Choda in the movie. And the lyrics were by Nazim Panipati. And this was her uh, big breakthrough. Dil Mera Toda Mujhe Kahin Ka Na Choda. In the interview in September, and on her 84th birthday, she had declared, Lataji said that Ghulam Haider is truly my godfather, who was the first music director who showed complete faith in my talent. Uh, Initially, people said that she's dating the acclaimed singer Noor Jahan, but later she had developed her own style of singing. She had brought a new style, which is signature style, and then moving away from the mehfil style to suit the modern and the traditional female actresses. Soprano range voice with less volume or amplitude. She had enough weight in her own voice to give that definite shape to the melody of Indian film songs. Although she had limited coloratura skills in her career earlier, she developed better tone and pitch as she progressed in her playback career. Uh, Lyrics of songs in Hindi movies are primarily, composed by the Urdu poets and contain the higher proportion of Urdu words, including the dialogue. The famous thespian actor Dilip Kumar once made a mildly disapproving remark about Lata Mangeshkar's Maharashtrian accent while singing Hindu's Urdu songs. Then Lataji took lessons in Urdu from a Urdu teacher named Shafi. In her interviews at that time, Lataji said that Noor Jahan had heard her as a child and had told her to practice a lot. And they always stayed in touch. Her major hits was Aiga, Niwala, Aiga, which was a song for the movie Mehal in 1949. This music was composed by music director Khemchand Prakash, and on the screen it was lip synced by the world famous Indian actress Madhu Balaji. In 1950s, Lata sang songs composed by various music directors of the period, including Anil Biswasji in films such as Tarana 51, in The Heer in 1956, Shankar Jaikishan, Naushad Ali, S.D. Burman, Sardul Singh Quatra, Amarnath, Husanlal, and Bhagatram in films like Badi Behan and 1949, Meena Bazar in 1950, Adi Raat in 1950, Choti Bhabhi in 1950, Afsana in 1951, Asu in 1953, and Adile Jahangir in 1955. C. Ramat Chandra, Himant Kumar, Salil Chaudhary, Datta Nayak, Khayyam, Ravi, Sajad Hussain, Rishan, Kalyanji, Anandji, Vasant Desai, Sudhir Phadke, Hansraj Bhel, Madan Mohan, and Usha Khanna. She also sang Sri Lanka Ma Priyadraja Bhumi, a song in Sinhala for the 1955 Sri Lankan film Seda Sulanga. She also made her debut in Tamil playback singing with Vanardham in 1956. Onan Kotola dubbed in Tamil with a Tamil song Anathan Kanalan for Nimmi in the dubbed version, which was composed with the famous Naushad. Lataji sang many raga based songs for Naushad in movies such as Didar, which was made in 1951, Beju Babra in 52, Amar 54, Rodan Kotala in 1955, and Mother India in the year 1957, which was then acted by Sunil Dutt and Nargis ji. Ye Chode Ki Jaat Badi Bewafa. She sang a duet with G.M. Dorani for the composer Nushadji. The duo Shankar Jaikishan chose Lata for Barsat in 49, Aha in 1953, Shri 420 in 1955, and Chori Chori in 1956. Before 1957, the composer S.D. Burman chose Lata as leading female singer for his musical scores in Saza 1951, House Number 44 in 1955, and Devdas in 1955. Later, they developed a rift, Lataji and Burman in 57, and then she stopped singing his compositions again until 1962. Lataji had won the Filmfare Award for Best Female Playback Singer for Salil Chaudhary's composition, Aja Re Pardesi, for Madhumati, 1958 film. Lata Mangeshkarji's association with C. Ramachandra produced songs in movies such as Albela, 1951, Shin Shinkai Bubla Bu, in 1952, Anarkali in 1953, Pehli Jhalak in 1954, Azad in 1955, Asha 1957, and Amardeep 1958. For Madan Mohan, she performed for films like Bagi in 53, Railway Platform in 55, Pocket Mar in 56, Mr. Lambu in 56, Dekh Kabira Roya in 1957, Adalat in 1958, Taylor in 1958, Mohar in 1958, and Chacha Jindabad in 1959. In the 60s, Lata ji song Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya for Mughal Azam. Mughal Azam was made by Prithviraj Kapoor, and it was a big international hit composed, and the music was composed by Naushad and lim synced by Madhubala. The Hawaiian theme number है जीब दासता है ये from Dil Apna or Preet Prai 1960 was composed by Shankar Jaikishan and lip synced by Meena Kumari ji, again a famous actress of Indian cinema who acted in movies like Pakiza. In 61, she recorded two popular bhajans, Allah Tero Naam, another one, Prabhu Tero Naam, for Burman's assistant Jaydev. In 62, she was awarded her second Filmfare Award for the song Kahin Deep Jale Kahin Dil from 20 Sal Baad, composed by Hemant Kumar. In 63, 27th of January, against the backdrop of the Sino-Indian War, Lata sang the patriotic songs, which are hits till today. "Hai mere watan ke logon, जरा आँख में भर लो पानी जो शहीद है उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी." This was sung in the presence of the then Prime Minister of India, Shri Jawaharlal Nehru. The song was composed by C. Ramachandra and written by Kavi Pradeep. And the Prime Minister Nehru, he was crying literally. In the 63 year, Lata returned to collaborate with S.D. Burman. She had sung in R.D. Burman's first film, Chote Nawab, and later his films as Bhoot Bangla, Pati Patni, Bharon Ke Sapne, Abhilasha. She had also recorded several popular songs for S.D. Burman, including Aaj Fir Jeene Ki Tamanna Hai, Gata Rahe Mera Dil. This was a duet with Kishore Kumar, and Piya To Se from Guide, 1965, made by Devanand, Chetananand. Hoton Pe Aisi Baat from Jewel Thief, Devanand starrer with Vijayanti Mala, and Kitni Akeli, Kitni Tanaha from Talash. During the 60s, Lata Mangeshkar continued her association with Madan Mohan, which included the songs Aapke Nazaron Ne Samjha from Unpad in 62, then Lag Ja Gale, and Naina Barse Rim Jim from Kaun Thi, 64, वो चुप रहे तो from Jahan Hara, 1964, तू जहां जहां चलेगा मेरा साया from the movie Mera Saya, and Teri Aankhon Ke Siva from Chirag. She had a continuing association with the maestros Shankar Jaikishan. She in 60s also got associated with Lakshmikant Pyarelal, the music directors. In 63, she sang around over 700 songs for the composer duo. She not in 63, but over the period of 35 years, and became hits. In 63, the Paras Muni movie, Mr. X in Bombay, 64, Aydin Bahar Ke, 66, Milan in 67, Anita 67, Shagird in 1968, Mere Hamdam Mere Dost in 68, In the Calm 69, Do Raste 69, Jeene Ki Raha. She got her third Filmfare Award for this, and she also sang playback songs for Marathi films, for music directors including Hridayanand Mangeshkar, Vasant Prabhu, Srinivas Khale, Sudhir Phadke, and the 70s she sang for Bengali songs, music directors like Salil Chaudhary, Hemant Kumar. She also made her Kannada debut in 67 for the film Kanti Vera Sangoli Rayana for the music director Lakshman Berlikar. The song Belane Belegetu was well received and appreciated. In 60s, she recorded many duets with Kishore Kumar, Mukesh, Manade, Mahendra Kapoor. They were living legends of the time, and Mohammad Rafi. And she had some issues with the late Mohammad Rafiji over the issue of royalty payments to singers, and she wanted Rafi to back her in demanding half share from the 5% song royalty that the film producers conceded to select composers. But Mohammed Rafiji took a diametrically opposite view and believed that playback singer's claim on the filmmaker ended with the payment of the agreed fee for the song, leading to the tensions between the two. After an argument during this recording of the song Tasveer Tere Dil Mein from Maya in the movie 1961, the two refused to sing with each other. The music director, Shri J. Kishanji, later had negotiated between the two and they had reconciled. In 72, Meena Kumari's last film, Pakiza, was released. It featured the popular song Chalte Chalte, and the other song was Inni Logon Ne Le Lina. This was sung by Lata Mangeshkar ji and composed by Ghulam Muhammad. She recorded many popular songs for S.D. Burman's last films, including Rangila Ray from Prem Pujari, Khilte Hain Gul Yahan from the movie Sharmili in 1971, and Piya Bina from Abhiman, the movie in 73, and for Madan Mohan, including Dastak in 70, Ranja in 1970, Dil Ki Rahein in 1973, Hindustan Ki Kasam, a film made in the war between India and the neighboring countries, and Hindustan Ki Kasam 1973. Hanse Jakam in 73, Mausam in 1972, 75, Sanjeev Kumar and Sharmila Tagore and Leila Majnu in 76. Her most songs were composed by Lata Burman and they were written by lyricist Anand Bakshi. And she recorded many hit songs with Rahul Dev Burman and the films Amar Prem, where Rajesh Khanna was acting, and Karawan in 71, Kati Patang again in 71, and Nandi in 75. And they're noted for the songs with lyricist Majru Sultanpuri, Anand Bakshi, and Gulzar. In 73, she won the National Film Award for the Best Female Playback Singer for the song Beeti Na Betai from the film Pariche. The song was written by Gulzar and composed by R.D. Burman. In 74, she sang her the only Malayalam song, Kadali Chinna Kadali, for the film Nelu, composed by Salil Chaudhary and written by Valor Rama Verma. In 75, she again won the National Award, this time for the song Rute Rute Piya from the film Kora Kagas, composed by Kalyanji Anandji. In 70s, she staged many concerts in India and abroad, and charity concerts, and she sang at Royal Albert Hall, London. And then she also released an album of Mirabai's bhajans, Chalabahi Des, composed by her brother Hidranath Mangeshkar. Her bhajans in the album included Savre Rangaranchi and Rodjare Kaga. She will also her collection of Galib Ghazals, an album of Marathi folk songs, Koli Gite, an album of Ganesh Artis, which are all composed by her brother Hridyanath, and an album of Abhangs of Sant Tukaram, composed by Srinivas Khale. In 78, Raj Kapoor directed the movie Satyam Shivam Sundaram with Shashi Kapoor and Zeenat Aman. And Mangeshkar ji sang the main theme song, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, which was among the chart toppers, that year. The film story is also inspired by Lata Mangeshkar. The film story is inspired by Lata Mangeshkar, was revealed by Kapoor's daughter, Ritu Nanda, in her latest book. The book quotes Kapoor as saying, I visualize the story of a man falling for a woman with an ordinary conscience but a golden voice and wanted to cast Lata Mangeshkar in the role. In the, she worked with the children of the composers whom she had worked earlier. Rahul De Burman, son of Sachin De Burman, Rajesh Roshan, son of Roshan, Anu Malik, son of Sardar Malik, and Anand Milan, sons of Chitragupta. She also sang many songs in the Assamese language, and she developed a good rapport with the Assamese musician, the famous Bhupen Hazarika ji. She also sang many songs under his direction, and the famous song Dil Hoom Kare from the movie Rudali, which starred Dimple Kapadia in 93, made the highest record the sales that year. In the 80s, she worked with music directors such as Shiv Hari in Silsila, which was Amitabh Bachchan and Rekha Starrer, Fasle, Vijay, Chandini, राम लक्ष्मण इन उस्तादी उस्ताद से बेजुबान वो जो हसीना ये कैसा फर्ज एंड मैंने प्यार किया which was Bhagyashri starrer with Salman Khan. She sang in other movies such as Karz, Rishi Kapoor starrer. Then एक दूजे के लिए कमल हसन, रति अग्निहोत्री, सिलसिला, प्रेम रोग, पद्मिनी कोल्हापुरे with Rishi Kapoor, Hero, Jackie Shroff, प्यार झुकता नहीं, राम तेरी गंगा मैली, मंडाकिनी, Nagina, Ram Lakhan, Anil Kapoor, her song Jujuzu, Yashoda from Sanjog was a chartbuster. She also made a comeback in Tamil films in the 80s, and her back to back renditions of composer Raja songs, Aro, 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 and Wala, you say, for the films Anand and Satya. She, the 80s also saw her composer duo Lakshmi Kant Pyarelal had Lata Ji sing their biggest hits. Shisha Ho Ya Dil Ho in the movie Asha, uh, where Reena Roy was acting. And then Tu Kitne Baras Ka in Karz, again, Rishi Kapoor. Uh, कितना आसान है हिंदुस्तान हमको भी है गम इन आसपास मेरे नसीब बेनसीब in 1980s जिंदगी की ना टूटे लड़ी in Kranti, a Manoj Kumar movie where Manoj Kumar and Hema Malini ji acted. 16 बरस की इन एक दूजे के लिए ये गली ये चौबारा इन प्रेम रोग sung by Padmini Kolhapure, lip synced. लिखने वाले न लिखे दिल इन अर्पण in 1983 दिन महीने साल इन अवतार राजेश खन्ना प्यार करने वाले इन इंडिया से जगी इन हीरो जूज यशोदा इन संजोग जिंदगी हर कदम इन मेरी जंग बैठ मेरे पास इन यादों की कसम 1985 उंगली में अंगूठी इन राम अवतार एंड ओ राम जी तेरे लखन ने इन राम लखन in 89. Some of the Rahul Dev Burman compositions included Aja Sare Bazaar in Ali Baba और 40 चोर बिंदिया तरसे इन वही रात थोड़ी सी जमीन इन सितारे क्या यही प्यार है Rocky. This was the movie was acted with Sanjay Dutt, Sunil Dutt, and Nargis' son in 1981. Dekho Maine Dekha in Love Story. This was Rajendra Kumar's son. तूने वो रंगीला इन कुदरत जाने कैसे कब इन शक्ति जब हम जवां होंगे इन बेताब which was Amrita Singh and Sunny Deol. हमें और जीने इन अगर तुम ना होते तुझसे नाराज नहीं मासूम देन कहीं ना जा इन जीवन के दिन इन बड़े दिलवाला जाने क्या बात इन सनी बुरी बुरी आंखों इन अर्जुन सागर किनारे इन सागर दिन प्यार के आएंगे इन सवेरे वाली गाड़ी में चले जाएंगे क्या भला है क्या खामोश अफसाना इन सिली हवा छू इन लबास Rajesh Roshan's collaboration with Devanand and Lootmar and Manpasand resulted in songs such as Paas Ho Tum Magar Kari and Suman Sudha Rajni Chanda, respectively. Lata ji also sang duets with Rafi such as Mujhe Chhu Rahi Hai for the movie Swayamvar in 80s. Kabhi Kabhi Bejuba and Johnny I Love You, Tujhe Sang Preet in Kamchor, अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं in Khuddar. अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं, there's a famous song, अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं कि I love you. इसमें अमिताभ बच्चन थे, the biggest superstar of the world, the Indian cinema has ever seen. Then अखियों में निशान, दुश्मन ना करे ना आखिर क्यों, and वादा ना तोड़ दिल तुझको दिया. And later it was featured at the soundtrack of the 2000 film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Bappi Lahiri also composed some songs for Lata, such as Duriyan Sab Mita Do in Saboot for the movie 1980s, in the year 1980. Bete Bete Aa Jai in Patita in 1980. जाने क्यों मुझे in Agreement. थोड़ा रेशम लगता है ज्योति, दर्द की रागनी in प्यास, and नैनों में सपना, do it with Kishore Kumar in the movie Himmat Wala in 83. Mohammad Zahur Khayyam continued to work with Lata Mangeshkar ji during the 80s and composed songs such as Hazar Rahe Mud, do it with Kishore Kumar, and Thodi Si Bewafai, Smiti Hui from Chambal Ki Kasam, मैं नाना जाने क्या हुआ इन दर्द, चांदनी रात में इन दिल नदान, दिखाई दिए इन बाजार चांद के पास, इन दिल नदान बाहर ले तुम्हें, आज निंदिया जे from लोरी, किरण किरण में शोखियां, एक नया रिश्ता movie in 1988. In 80, she sang the famous song Sun Saiba Sun, Sun Pyar Ki Dhun for the movie Ram Tera Ganga Meli for Ravindra Jain, a famous music composer of that time. Chand Apna Safar in Shama, Shayad Meri Shadi Ka Khayal, and Zindagi Pyar Ka in Sotan. Sotan was a Rajesh Khanna Tina Muneem movie which hit the box office. हम भूल गए रे इन सोतन की बेटी, फरूशा खन्ना, हृदय मंगेशकर had a काले काले घेरे साए इन चक्र इन 81, ये आंखें देखकर, एंड कुछ लोग मोहब्बत को इन धनवान, मुझे तुम याद करना इन मशाल, असामी सॉन्ग जूनो कोरे रटी with music and lyrics by Dr. Bhupen Hazarika, जाने दो मुझे इन शहनशाह, for अमर उत्पल, सजन मेरे उस पार इन गंगा जमुना सरस्वती in 88, मेरी प्यार की Umar in Varis for Uttam Jagdish. In the year 85, June, United Way of Greater Toronto invited Lataji to perform at the Maple Leaf Gardens. At the request for Annie Murray, she sang a song, You Needed Me. 12,000 people attended the concert, which raised $150,000 for charity. In the 90s, she sang, recorded with music directors including Anand Milan, Nadeem Shravan, Jatin Lalit, Dilip Sen, Sameer Sen, Uttam Singh, Anu Malik, Adi Shrivastava, and A.R. Rahman. She recorded some non-film songs, including ghazals with Jagjit Singh. She has also sung with Kumar Sanu, Amit Kumar, S.P. Balasubramaniam, Udit Narayan, Hariharan, Suresh Vadagar, Mohammad Aziz, Abhita Bhattacharya, Roop Kamar Rathod, Vinod Rathod, Gurdas Maan, and Sonu Nigam. She launched her own production house for Hindi movies in 1990, which produced the Gulzar directed movie Lekin. She won her third National Film Award for the Best Female Playback Singer for the rendition of the song Yara Silili from a film which was composed by her brother Hridranath. She also sung for almost all the Yash Chopra films and from the Yash Raj films banner, including Chandni, Lamhe, Dar, Ye Dil Lagi, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, which had Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol, Dil To Pagal Hai, Madhuri Dixit, Akshay Kumar, and then later in Mohabbatein, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Aishwarya Rai, Mujhse Dosti Karoge, and V. Zara. In 1990, Mangeshkar ji recorded with Ram Lakshman and Patthar Ke Phool, 100 Days, Mehboob Mere Mehboob, Satwa Asman, I Love You, Dil Ki Bazi, Antim Nyay, The Melody of Love, The Law, Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, which is a big, big blockbuster, Mega, and Love Kush, Manchala, and Dulhan Banu Main Teri. A.R. Rahman also recorded a few songs with Mangeshkar ji during this period, including Jiya Jale, Dil Se खामोशियां गुनगुनाने लगी इन 1 2 का 4, एक तू ही है भरोसा इन पुकार, प्यार से गाँव इन जुबेदा, सो गए इन जुबेदा, लुका चुपी इन रंग बसंती, ओ पालनहार इन लगान, and her ladly in Ronak. She made an on-screen appearance in the film Pukar, singing Ek Tu Hi Bharosa. In 1994, Lata Mangeshkar released Shraddhanjali, my tribute to the immortals. The special feature of the album is that Lata offers her tributes to immortal singers of the time by rendering a few of the songs in her own voice. The songs of K.L. Sehgal, Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, Hemant Kumar, Mukesh, Pankaj Malik, Geeta Dutt, Zora Bhai, Amir Bhai, Parul Ghosh, and Kanan Devi. She sang both for Rahul Dev Barmala's songs. In 94, she sang Kuch Na Kaho for Rahul Dev Burman. In 1942, A Love Story, where Manisha Koirala acted with Anil Kapoor. In 1999, Lata Ji, Yodi Perfume, uh, Lata Yudi Perfume, a perfume-based brand, was named after her, was launched. She was also awarded Zee Cine Award for Lifetime Achievement in 1999. Mangeshkar ji was nominated as a member of the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the Indian Parliament. She, however, did not attend Rajya Sabha sessions, and she invited criticism from the members of the House, including the Deputy Chairperson, Najma Heptullah ji, Pranab Mukherjee, and Shabana Azmi. She stated the reason for her absence as ill health. It was also reported that she had not taken a salary allowance or a house in Delhi for being a member of the parliament. In 2001, she was awarded the Bharat Ratna. This was the India's highest civilian honor. She also established the Master Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital in Pune, which is managed by the Lata Mangeshkar Medical Foundation. In 2005, she designed a jewelry collection called Sauranjali, which was crafted by Adora, Indian Diamond Jewel Export Company. Five pieces from the collection raised 1,05,000 pounds at a Christie's auction, and part of the money was donated for the 2005 Kashmir earthquake relief. In 2001, she recorded her first Hindi song with the composer Raja for the film Lajja. She had earlier recorded Tamil and Telugu songs composed by Raja. Her song Vada Na Tod was included in the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and its soundtrack. In 2007, 21st June, she released the album Sadgi, featuring 8 ghazal-like songs written by Javed Akhtar and composed by Mayurish Pai. Between the year in 2010, in April, 2011, 12th of April, Mangeshkar ji released the album Sarhade, Music Beyond Boundaries, which contains the duet Tere Milna Bahut Achhe Lage by Mangeshkar and Mehdi Hassan, which was written by Pakistan Farhad Sahjad. The album features Usha Mangeshkar, Suresh Wadkar, Hariharan, Sonu Nigam, Rekha Bhardwaj, and another Pakistani singer Ghulam Ali, with compositions by Mayuresh Pai and others. After 14 years, Mangeshkar ji recorded a song for composer Nadeem Shravan, Kaise Piyase, for Bewafa. After कितने अजीब रिश्ते हैं यहाँ प्यार for page 3, and Data Sunle for Jail. Shamir Tandon had once recorded a song with Mangeshkar ji, Tere Hasino Se Mujhko, for the film Satrangi Parachute in the year 2011. After a break, Mangeshkar ji came back to playback singing and recorded at her own studio the song Jeena Kya Hai Jana Jana Maine for No Y2 Life is a Movement, the sequel to Kapil Sharma's Square love story. Do you know why? Na Jane Kyu. In the year 2012, 20th November, Mangeshkar ji launched her music own label, LM Music, with an album of Bhajan Swami Samarth Mahamantra composed by Mayuresh Pai. She sang with her younger sister Usha on the album. In 2014, she recorded a Bengali album, Shurodavani, including poetry by Salil Chaudhary and composed by Pai. On 30th of March 2019, she released the song Sogandh Mujhe Is Mitti Ki, composed by Mayuresh Pai as a tribute to the Indian Army and Nation. She had collaborated singers and she had sang all the things. Mangeshkar ji had duets with Mohammad Rafi, Mukesh. She's also sang with Roop Kumar Rathod, Hariharan, Pankaj Udas, Udit Narayan, Kumar Sanu, Suresh Wadkar. Her most notable works in the 90s was Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, which songs were there? Mere Khwabon Mein Jo Aaye. The another song was Ho Gayi Hai Tujhko, To Pyar Sajna, Ho Gaya Hai Tujhko, Sajna. The another song was Tujhe Dekha Hai To Ye Jana Sanam. And the best song was Mehndi Laga Ke Rakhna, Mehndi Laga Ke Rakhna. In the 2000s, she had duets with Udit Narayan, Sonu Nigam, and then also with Adnan Sami, Luka Chupi, in Rang de Basanti, with A.R. Rahman, and she had a big career. She had also won the Maharashtra State Government Best Music Director Award for the film Sadi Manase. And she produced four films in 1953, Badal in Marathi, in 1953, Jhanjar in Hindi, and Kanchan Ganga again in 55, and in 1990, Lekin. Just in this year, in 2022, on the 8th of January, Lata Mangeshkar ji had tested positive for the corona virus, the COVID-19 pandemic, which started in the world in around 2019, 2020. And she was admitted to the hospital, Bombay, Bridge Candy Hospital. And she remained in ICU. She showed improvement. She was on ventilator. She was off on the ventilator. But just a day back, she was moved to the ventilator again, and they were giving her a lot of aggressive therapy, as the doctor claimed. But she just passed away, unfortunately, after multiple organ failure and being treated for 28 days at this hospital. So we will, the Indian music industry, the world over, the Indians and the people who recognize and celebrate music would be missing her. So we, as from our uh, media perspective, we have lost the Nightingale of India, and we would also pray for God to bless her soul. And there was another thing about we want to tell you that in 1974, the Guinness Book of Records had listed Lata Mangeshkar as the most recorded artist in history, stating that she had reportedly recorded not less than 25,000 solo, duet, and chorus backed songs in 20 Indian languages between 48 to 74. Her record was then contested by Muhammad Rafiji, who was claimed to have sung around 28,000 songs. After Rafiji's death in 1984 edition, the Guinness Book of World Records stated Lata Mangeshkar's name for the most recordings, but also stated Rafi's claim. The later editions of the Guinness Book stated that Lata Mangeshkar had sung no fewer than 30,000 songs between 48 to 1979. Later, the entry was discontinued by the Guinness editions in 1991 without explanation, and the estimates are different, so we cannot talk about that now. So I think we ended at this, and we pray for her soul. Thank you. That's it from me today at for this channel, YouTube channel, and we wish the viewers are able to see her in good history. Thank you.